Thank you for joining us. This is a truly an historic morning in honor of this extraordinary book, your book, Whispers in the Stones, A Sufi's Quest Through Time, which thank you for sharing with us the beauty, the scholarship, the vision, the documentation of Pakistan's Jewish past, both in its communal form and in its synagogues. And, Pierre, this is the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs. Here we are in the middle of Jerusalem, which I heard from you in a conversation you and I had this morning before our esteemed colleagues, diplomats, friends, and family gathered here to be with you this morning. And you said something rather extraordinary to me. You said, Jerusalem chose me. I didn't choose Jerusalem. And in fact, this is really the essence of what Jerusalem is to all of us here in the room. And it really reflects the symbol of the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, in which was drawn by the great theologian and cartographer Heinrich Bunting in the 15th century, who imagined a world in which Jerusalem was at its center, connecting the three, as he saw it in his mind's eye, the three great continents of Asia, Africa, and Europe, with Jerusalem at the center. So your vision is not hundreds, but even several thousand years old, and reflected by other theologians, intellectuals that came before you, and God willing will come after. And you very much embody in your book the heart and soul of this great capital, which we say in Hebrew, Ha'ir she'chubra la yachdav, the city that connects everything, the city that connects every people, every religion, and every nation, the heart of the nations. And last night, I just have to tell you, in the minute or two that I have left, just to introduce you and introduce this wonderful book, I was standing near the wedding canopy of a young couple who was getting married in the hills of Judea, overlooking Jerusalem. And I reread what you had written here in the Jerusalem of the East, in the section about Sirkap. And it says there, you wrote there, that Sirkap declares itself the Jerusalem of the East, a sanctuary where different worlds converge. And I think it really says everything about Jerusalem, about this wonderful book, which is the first time that a Pakistani writer has chosen to include Pakistan's Jewish past as part of what you said is Pakistan's public, historical, and future culture, which is rather extraordinary. It's also an historic moment, I think, for all of us. It's the first time that a Pakistani writer, intellectual, certainly not a government representative, but even in the world of civil society, has chosen a partner in Jerusalem in order to launch a book about Pakistan's religious and cultural past, in which Jerusalem, as our dear friend Peer Syed Mudassir Shah says, is very much a part of his heart and Pakistan's collective heart as well. So it's an historic moment in a number of different levels, and we're so proud to be able to be partners and to bless you and to be the home for the launch of this wonderful book. Allow me just to say that the way we'll conduct this morning's proceedings is we'll have a recorded briefing from the President of Israel, His Excellency President Herzog, who's actually read the book, and it will offer just in a minute his blessings, as well as comments from former Special Envoy Jason Greenblatt, his former U.S. Special Representative, International Negotiations under the former administration, who played a central role in the Abraham Accords. And we'll hear a minute or two observation from Dr. Michael Duran, who is a dear friend and colleague of the Jerusalem Center. He himself is the senior fellow and director of the Center for Peace and Security in the esteemed Hudson Institute from Washington. We'll hear from Peer for his observations, and then we'll have some discussion, questions, and comments. We're only this first section is only 10 or 11 minutes, just to offer you the deep blessings that we're very much honored to share with you here, and then we'll hear from you your observations about how and how the book came to you and what it means for a chaos in region, a larger region in chaos, actually, and what it means for the future of all of us here and where you are as well in Pakistan. So first of all, I'd just like to thank for bringing us together is my esteemed colleague here, Aviram Badaish, who is a great expert in all affairs in the Arab world, in the Muslim world, who's been a teacher of mine, and very much was the person that introduced me to Peer. And so we're very thankful to Aviram and all of our scholars here, which I can't name everyone, otherwise we'll already be into lunch and dessert. But let me just say one thing, Peer. Thank you for sending the outfit. Everyone can see the traditional Pakistani suit. Now, we asked Aviram to try it on. We wanted Aviram to share the cultural dress for this morning's lunch. The only challenge was when he tried it on, and you can see Aviram is about 5'7", and very athletic.
In a good day.
Yeah. And the problem is that the pants came up to his nose, and there wasn't a tailor in the area that was able to do a what we call open outfit surgery in order to have him wear it in a way that we could actually identify who he is. So we put it here. So we're all wearing the outfit this morning, symbolically. So if we can hear just the comments from our beloved President Isaac Herzog, for the book this morning.
Dear friends, it is with great pleasure that I celebrate with you the launch of Whispers in the Stone, a Sufi's quest through time, written by the esteemed religious leader, social and climate activist, Peer Syed Mudassir Shah, co-chairman of the Universal Sufi Council. Today, more than ever before, our region is in need of courageous voices that promote interfaith dialogue and understanding, highlight our shared humanity, and recall that we are all created in the image of God and we are His children. In the face of the radical terror and hate attack on October 7th, we must come together, Muslims, Jews, and Christians, to reject the path of extremism and embrace the path of peace. Part of this effort involves preserving our shared society. What a great story and heritage it is, an untold story. The legacy of Muslim-Jewish coexistence can be a basis for Muslim-Jewish cooperation in the present and for the expansion of peace and partnership in the future. And I personally am a strong believer in the urgent need for a great potentially interfaith dialogue, especially between Judaism and Islam. So, dear friends, there's no better place to launch this important work than in the holy city of Jerusalem. Its stones, too, whisper the human stories of centuries of prayers and tears, and hold now our deepest prayers for the immediate, safe return of our hostages and for safety and well-being of all the peoples in the region. Peer Mudassir Shah, I would like to thank you personally for your strong condemnation of Hamas's barbaric and un-Islamic attack. Thank you. Thank you to the Jerusalem Center of Public Affairs and its president, Mr. Dan Diker, for organizing this book launch today and for everything you do every day to expand Israel's diplomatic ties and strengthen our society, international standing, and interfaith dialogue. May this event serve as an important launching pad in our efforts to spread peace and understanding between all children of Abraham. I send wishes to the entire Muslim world for a blessed Ramadan, Ramadan Kareem. Thank you all very much.
Jason Greenblatt was the former U.S. administration special envoy to the Middle East and the Abraham Accords, and he's a fellow at the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs.
I was delighted to see a book that describes Pakistan's cultural history and at the same time, for what may be the first time, describes a Jewish community and a synagogue there. The book doesn't hide or shy away from the Jewish community. Perhaps this is yet another stone laid in the complex and challenging path, creating peace between Muslims and Jews and Muslims and Israel. We need it now more than ever. Thank you.
And Dr. Mike Duran at Hudson Institute.
Well, greetings from Washington, D.C. I'm sorry I can't be there in Jerusalem in person with you. I'm sorry I can't be there to celebrate this great book, Whispers in the Stones. In it, Peer Syed Mudassir Shah highlights the impact that Jewish communities have had on Pakistani culture, how they harmoniously merged with a tolerant Muslim population, and more importantly, how they gave birth to a successful and booming Pakistani urban culture in the early 20th century. This book takes responsibility for Pakistan's collective memory, and it does so in order to serve a project that I think we can all support, namely shaping a collective future. By resurrecting the lost Jewish communities, Syed Peer Mudassir Shah helps us also to combat extremists, those among us who seek to create an entirely homogeneous society. Jews, Muslims, and Christians, all of us who have benefited from interacting with each other, from interacting with people of very diverse backgrounds, we must resist this effort to force us into sectarian and communal boxes. This book comes at an important moment, of course, when several Muslim countries have normalized relations with Israel, and when others are on the verge of doing so, and of course, when still others are trying to reverse that trend toward normalization. Indeed, the success of the Abraham Accords in 2020 serves as a model of how the advancement of peace among all three Abrahamic religions is possible. But Peer Syed Mudassir Shah's book is not simply an ode to tolerance. It's also a warning. It's a warning of what might vanish if the forces of extremism, radicalism, and intolerance are left unchecked. The October 7th massacre and the steady rise of anti-Semitism in the West did not happen in a vacuum. The terrorists of Hamas have received support from the adversaries of tolerance around the globe. Those forces of intolerance are, of course, led by Iran. Those adversaries are determined to promote their destructive agenda in the West as well as in the Middle East. While they see religious pluralism as a weakness, we must defend what the Abrahamic religions have preached for centuries, namely tolerance. The resurrection of the shared Islamic Jewish traditions in Pakistan is an important step toward fulfilling this mission. It gives us tools to think beyond the confined identities that the extremists are attempting to foist on us, and it gives us a taste of how religious pluralism and engagement in interfaith dialogue can create peaceful and prosperous societies. Let us all applaud this effort. I'm really sorry that I can't be there to applaud it in person, but I wish all of you well, and I hope to see you very soon in person. Thank you very much for letting me attend this, if only virtually. Have a good day.
So even though Dr. Duran can't be here to applaud Peer, may I introduce to you with applause and thanks, Peer Syed Mudassir Shah, the author of Whispers in the Stones, A Sunni's Quest Through Time.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Is it clear? Thank you all. I'm deeply touched with the warm response which I am right now getting it from Jerusalem, a holy city for us all. And these are blessed moments that we can, we are not only sharing our thoughts, our ideologies on this crucial time in the history, when on the one side, we are advocating for peace stability, and a brighter future for us and the coming generations. And also, we are realizing the importance of art, culture, and heritage as not only the connecting bond between communities, societies, countries, and regions, but as a bridge of hope for a better future. There are many people in this hall who are like a family to me. I'm sure Dr. Nancy is sitting there. I cannot see her in the camera. Yeah, now Nancy, I can see you. My dear friend Yeshaya is there with his scholarly and beautiful shy smile. I have my friend Don Dicker, who is organizing this all. And especially my thanks to Eviram and his team. And there are so many friends who are joining us online right now. I know that they are there. This whole effort came with their support, their strength, their hopes for the future. And I'm pretty optimistic that this is first step, but this will lead to a long way and bring the hopes of positivities, peace, and self-respect, the goal of peace, very closer, very soon. I'm deeply touched with all of your presence and the nice words I just heard from Mr. President and the scholars from USA and Israel. Thank you. Thank you all.
We'd love to open up to your comments and questions for Syed about the Pakistan, Israel, the book. Peer, I'll start out with a question. How did you connect Jerusalem with Sirka? How did you make the connection? How did you it came to you calling it the Jerusalem of the East, east of where we are.
Yeah. In fact, Jerusalem is like, it's a brand of diversity. It's a brand of beauty. It's a brand of, it's symbol of connecting souls. It's symbol of celebrating diversity and religious harmony for centuries and centuries. I'm not talking political. I'm talking spiritual. Politics is not my domain. But spiritually, Jerusalem is the mark of religious and spiritual diversity. So whenever, wherever in the on the map, you will find a place where you will find religions to celebrate the coexistence. You will resemble it with Jerusalem. Jerusalem is mark of diversity. Jerusalem is the mark of coexistence. Jerusalem is the mark of religious harmony. So when I found the details of Sirikap's heritage and its history and the coexistence of different religion in a town, respecting each other, I immediately titled it as Jerusalem of the East.
Here, the public narrative about the nation state of the Jewish people, about Israel and Jerusalem, as a Saudi friend has told me recently, has been terribly disfigured and taken completely out of historical context. we can even use the word disinformation by various groups where you are and in other countries in the region. How would you suggest that we can help reroute or replant the proper narrative or facts based on fact, based on historical context about Jerusalem as the heart of the nations on the one hand, but also as the very special heart of the Jewish people for the last over 3,000 years?
I agree with you, Dan. There is miscommunication, there is strong propaganda, there is a lot going for decades and decades now. I'll simply suggest the public diplomacy in this modern time is the key to counter the propaganda, the negative campaigns. And the more our communities and our nations will involve in public diplomacy, public exchange, exchange of ideas, connectivity, engagement, the more we will engage, the more we will be able to convey to understand first each other's point of view. And then the mutual bond will push us to respect each other's point of view. And then gradually we will start learning to live with difference of opinions and to live with peace in diversity. So it is simple. Engagement, and more engagement.
Yeah, please.
First of all, I want to commend you on this beautiful book. The photographs are amazing and the text is very, very touching. And I think the fact that you recognize the soul of stones really touches our hearts, because that's exactly how we feel about our history. And not only Jerusalem, but the whole country is full of stones that are telling the tale of the Jewish people. So that really touched us very deeply. I wanted to ask you about the Pakistani government attitude to these relics of the past, because I understand there is no Jewish community nowadays in Pakistan. And we also know that radical Islam is tried in other places to destroy relics of the past. So, I mean, the Buddha statues and so on. And from what I saw in your book, everything is preserved very beautifully. So I wanted to understand how the Pakistani government what is the attitude in general to other religions, and especially all the relics of the Jewish community.
Yeah, thank you. And there are 2-3 things you just mentioned, so I'll try to address one by one. One, Pakistani government is very responsible government. They are not biased against any religion, any culture, any kind of ethnic group. They are not against of it. They are trying their best, and I'm talking about the present day Pakistani government, and in general the state of Pakistan. They are trying to preserve all the monuments, all the archaeological sites, sites of religious importance. They are trying to protect, they are trying to preserve it. Let me share a small story with you. If you can see this there are two small temples in Sangani village. Ruins of Faith on page 24. These two small Hindu temples on page 24, these small two Hindu temples in Sagri. The temples are not, there is no Hindu community in that area after partition. The temples have a small piece of land adjacent with the building. And 3 times the radical elements tried to capture that piece of land on the name of building a mosque over there. And the government resisted. The administration resisted. So we see the commitment of government and the state to protect the holy sites or the religious sites or the historical sites. It is there. Yeah, lack of capacity, lack of training, maybe sometimes lack of funds. These are the small problems which the government is right now trying to, they are trying to reach on a level of excellence. But it's a still ongoing process of a third world country. The second thing you mentioned about, I guess it was, sorry, I forgot the second point.
Jewish sites.
Yeah, there is a small Jewish community, not on the record, but it's like 900 people. They are living in Pakistan. They don't disclose their identity as Jewish, of course, for the obvious reasons. They feel threatened, and of course, there is a wave of extremism and terrorism in our country for the last 40 years. It's unfortunate. And there is Jewish heritage, Jewish archaeology, Jewish historical and religious buildings. Those are there in Pakistan. And unfortunately, there are so many reasons that no one has gone into a deep research about mapping those Jewish sites, bringing them on record, making a catalog of all the Jewish sites we have right now. So once the sites and the heritage become a part of record or you bring it on record, then it is easy to address the challenges. And if the government or state or some organizations, some NGOs want to restore it or protect it, then it's easy. So mapping the Jewish heritage is a challenge right now. And it's not undoable, but nobody has done it before.
Peer, first of all, thank you very much. It's a great honor, and to talk to you and to work with you on the past few months about this launching was amazing experience for me. What is very interesting is the fact that the president and Jason Greenblatt and Mike Duran from Hudson, they got the book, and everyone read it differently. Nobody asked you, nobody talked to you about it. You see 3 different messages. And what I got out of it is that this is a message of hope. Every and each one of them took a message of hope. The president, he read that, but he never spoke to you, and all of the others. But the fact that he read it and this is what he said, that this is what he feels, I think that this time that we are living now, so we see your book as a message of hope. And Dan and I, we returned a week ago from a meeting that a few of the people, and one of them told me that the Sufis believe, and this is what I wanted to ask you, that 2% of good people can change 98% of evil. So I wanted to know, what is your message of hope?
As a Sufi, I am always a hopeful person. We believe in hope, and that gives us strength. And just to suggest you the correct equation, there are 2% of wrong people in the world. 98 are good.
That's very nice.
But because those 2%, they are visible, they are loud, they shout, and we hear. I am a person who condensed what happened on October 7th. A bunch of people brought bad name to my religion. They malign Islam because on the name of Islam, they killed innocent people, kids who were celebrating their lives. They had to see their future, their parents. They were planning about their future. Couples who were just married and planning for a beautiful life in future. And within few hours, a terrorist attack. They, trust me, they not only shattered your society, they shattered whole humanity. But brother, they are not my representatives. They are not from 98%. They're from 2%. We, the common people, peace-loving people, we are the majority. And those terrorists and troublemakers are the minority. We cannot, should not, and will not let them overtake our peace, our future, our prosperity. Never ever. This is my commitment. And I'm sure this is your commitment too.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Dr. Fiamma Nehrenstein.
Yeah. First of all, I'm very honored to be here with you today. Thank you very much for joining us here in Jerusalem. Myself, being a Florentine, I'm from Florence, originally, Italy, and from Jerusalem, having myself done my Aliyah, I am very, very committed to the civilizations of stones. So I'm very close to your message. You know, I think that when you preserve the architecture, the message, the ideas that are engraved in the stones, then you really understand the message of the centuries. And I am all inside that, from one side and from the other. So I would like to know about your side. Please tell us more about these stones, because I'm really fascinated by seeing them. And for you, what does the message of these stones say to you?
Whispers in the stones, as it suggests, stones are always wonderful. They are wonderful to talk to. They are wonderful to be with. They're wonderful to be the friends of. They are great friends. They are great companions. Sometimes they are great mentor. The same stone came out of a rock. One becomes the idol who witnessed millions and millions of people bowing in front of it. And the second stone chosen to be placed in a battlefield where thousands of people got slaughtered on it. Stones, they are having names of people who are in the grave where the gravestone is placed, giving them an identity who were there to establish identities during their lifetime. Stones, when they become a part of a palace, they have seen the stories of rulers and how they ruled. Stones, when they became a sitting place for a mystic, they have witnessed all the years and they heard all the breaths which a mystic had during its meditation, while sitting on that stone. Stones, they are witness to history. They are witness to all the records of history. Today, we people are fighting with our arguments to justify our version of the history. And they see us, the stone, they see us, they smile on us, because they know that people before us, in front of stones, the people before us were discussing these historical events. And today they become a part of history too. So Whispers in the Stones is something very mystical. It tells us about the nothingness of everything. And it tells us everything about the nothingness as well.
Yeah, Rani, please.
Peer, thank you very much. Some 25 years ago, as a diplomat serving in Washington, I had the opportunity to conduct a dialogue with Pakistani diplomats about organizing civil society projects. Sadly, nothing came of it. However, one thing that I discovered, which is an interesting urban myth perhaps, is that some believe that the Pashto population of Pakistan are descendants of Israelites. Is there anything to this? And are not the Pashtos some of the most radical in Pakistan?
Thank you. One thing that is for sure, that states and countries are very powerful, but hence proven that countries and states, which they are unable to do, people like you and me and Dan and Aviram, Nancy and Yeshaya, we can do, connecting the communities and bridging the gaps. Second, yes, there is a thought. It's a popular myth that Pashtuns are descendants of Jews. And there is a counter thought on it. So there are two kind of scholars who are working. One is trying to establish the fact, and one is trying to deny the fact. But on a lighter note, if it is true, please take all the troublemakers from us, have them, treat them whatever you wanted. But just troublemakers, because Pashtun, they are great people, scholarly people, hardworking people, and maybe we resemble them. This could be a reason that they are very intelligent, they are very hardworking, they are very committed. So these are the resemblance which are there in between Pashtun community and the Jewish community. So perhaps these are few reasons as well.
Thank you for a very difficult issue. You handled it well.
Diplomatic answer.
Yeah,
This
please.
is a very sensitive time. Pakistan and Israel, they are going through a very, very sensitive time. So I am trying to be modest and to be intelligent in choosing my words. I'm trying this.
Well done.
Dear, congratulations. It was a wonderful and very interesting lecture, briefing. I wanted to ask you, you started the bridge. In your vision, what is the next steps between Israel and Pakistan, or between the people?
The matter of fact, I have never started it. It was there. People like Nancy, other people, they were working on that. And they never started it. It was there before them. So they joined it, I joined them. Our coming generations will join us. So it will go on till we reach to the goal of peace, and then till we reach on the goal of celebrating the peace together. So, in my humble opinion, more engagements, more exchange of not only of thought, but people to people connectivity, student exchange, expert exchange, intellectual exchange, and now thanks to the technology, it is more workable. Countries are for nations, for people. People are important. So if people are connected, hopefully countries will follow the path.
Inshallah. I would like to make a comment.
Please,
First of all, Peer, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much. We miss you, Mikhail Barak, and I miss you. We look forward to you coming back. And I think many people in the room don't know what you did and how we got connected, but a mutual friend put us in contact, Jamshad Iqbal, and it was in August 2020 at the beginning of COVID. And Peer reached out and said, I have this idea to launch a podcast between Israelis and Pakistanis. And he gave me, it was really an honor of a lifetime. He asked me, and nobody knows me in this room, could you please talk about your aliyah? And I talked about it. And in the middle, I said, do you know any Sufi leaders in Israel? And you said no. And I said, don't worry, I'll connect you. And that was the beginning. And we wound up, I became a fixer. And I loved every minute of it. And I think, what did we do? Over 30 interviews? It was really
Around 60.
Wow. And I agree with Peer that citizen diplomacy, it can do so much. And from this, I've met many other people from Pakistan, and I also work in Somalia, and I think it's wonderful, the idea of really starting to map the heritage that we have with you is great, as well as many delegations on all different levels. So I'm here and I'm willing to help. That's my motto. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm new to all of this, so I'd love if you could give a brief explanation of Sufism.
Oh, okay. Sufism is like there was a friend who was from the city of flowers, right? She just asked a question.
Yeah,
Florence.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is always hard to describe a fragrance. It is hard to describe a color. Like the beauty of red color, we all know. But we cannot describe the red color. We have to see it. We cannot describe the fragrance. We have to feel it. We cannot describe the taste. We have to taste it. And Sufism is all about the spirituality of a person, the spiritual living, growth, experiences. One has to feel it. And everyone is spiritual. Everyone is mystic. Everyone. It's not about religion, as the great scholar Dr. H.A. Whitfield always said. Sufism is the essence of every religion. It's about the spiritual journey of a human being, spiritual learning, experiences. And in short, sir, once I asked Sheikha Nuratan of Turkey that, Sheikha, could you please explain the shortest definition of Sufism? She said, Hizmat means service. That was the shortest definition of Sufism. Serve human, physically, morally, spiritual, intellectual. Serve other human beings. That's Sufism. And that elevates one's mystical journey on another level. Smile is the tool of a Sufi, because this is the first humble service you can offer to the other human being. Thank you.
Peer, what is the prospect of translating this book into Urdu?
Yeah. Hopefully, we will work on it in 2025. This book is right now it is addressing the international audience, and on the ground in Pakistan, there's a need to document these all sites and these all historical stories in one place in Urdu language, but on a larger scale. So we will be working on it in 2025.
Well, allow me on behalf of all of us here at the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, and behalf of all the people in Israel and in Jerusalem, to thank you for sharing this moment of heritage and hope. And we look forward to seeing you, Peer, here in Jerusalem with us as soon as you can, and to continue this great work and advance our relations between our two peoples and the many peoples actually of Pakistan, not just one people, and the also the multicultural rainbow nation that is Israel, with our Jewish majority character, but we very much have a rainbow nation, as someone once said of a country that today has become a challenge for us. But nonetheless, you're a hope for us, and as you said, for all of humanity. So thank you very much, and Peer Syed Mudassir Shah, and this wonderful book, Whispers in the Stones of Pakistan and the Stones of Jerusalem.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very thankful, and especially to the Jerusalem Center for Public Advocacy, its all team members, all the guests, all the family members who are there to celebrate this book. And thank you. I'm thankful, and my best wishes and hopes for a better future from Pakistan to you all.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.